Percy enjoyed working in the yard. Edward had taught him well, and he had the trucks and coaches in good order for the other engines. His bubbly nature was a welcome change from the yard's bad atmosphere. As Percy was shunting, he saw Thomas arrive with Annie and Clarabel. He didn't take much notice at first. But when the guard's whistle blew, Percy was surprised to see Thomas backing the train down the branch line. When he next saw Thomas, the little green engine was most inquisitive.
How do you do that?
Do what?
Push your train down the branch line. Your driver can't possibly see what's coming.
Now, Thomas is a unique engine. Thanks to special rods and connectors, he can be driven from Clarabel's cab. This means he can stay at one end of his train for both journeys.
Oh, well, not every engine can do it. You need certain experience to run trains like this.
Maybe I could do it.
I doubt it. You're not special like I am.
And he left the station, chuckling to himself.
Not special, indeed. I'll show that, Thomas. Just let him wait.
When the big engines were shut in the shed, the Fat Controller asked Percy to look after the branch line.
Oh, thank you, sir.
He was excited to get out of the yard, and to show Thomas a thing or two. Percy enjoyed working on the branch line, but soon found his hopes were dashed. His driver always ran him round to the back of the train. He tried starting before he could be uncoupled. He tried locking his brakes. He tried everything, but his driver always won in the end.
Come on, Percy. You're going to make us late for all this nonsense.
Time after time, Percy found himself grumpily running to the other end of the train. Clarabel was always happy to see him.
Oh, it's nice to have some company back here for a change. It gets lonely watching everything pass you by.
Percy smiled, but still wanted a chance to show Thomas he was a special kind of engine. One morning, Percy brought the first train to the station. He was about to run around for the return journey when the station master came running.
Sorry, the points are acting up and we can't change them. You'll have to push the train, I'm afraid.
Percy was ecstatic.
Now's the time! Now's the time!
Listen to me. You're pushing this train no further than the first station, and I want no tricks when it's time to run you round back. Understood?
Oh, yes, sir. Unless there's a points failure at the first station too.
Annie rolled her eyes. The fireman was anxious.
Do you think we'll manage?
It's only a short distance. I doubt we'll have any trouble.
Little did he know, a short distance was all trouble needed. Percy was enjoying himself immensely.
Look at me! Look at me! Not so unique now, are you, Thomas?
He felt very clever. Percy's driver was having a hard time seeing. The guard was keeping watch in Clarabel. But Percy bumped about so much that he spilled tea on his uniform.
Bother.
He fumed and went searching for a rag. That's when trouble appeared. At the first level crossing, a lorry had stalled on the line. Bertie was annoyed by the delay.
Come on, I've got places to be.
The driver grunted at him as he continued working on the lorry's engine. Bertie rolled his eyes. Then he glanced down the line. A train was fast approaching.
Stop! Stop!
Clarabel was frantic.
Brakes! Brakes!
The guard, turning his attention back to the rails, scrambled to the lever. He leaned from a window and blew his whistle furiously. Percy's brakes came on at once. He put all his effort into stopping and shut his eyes in horror. When Percy opened his eyes, he'd come to a halt. Clarabel's buffers were mere inches from the crossing gates.
What's the matter with you engines? You might have hurt your passengers.
I only wanted to show Thomas I was a special engine.
Special? What are you on about?
Percy explained what had happened, and the driver was in stitches.
Trust me, Percy. Thomas is by no means special. He was built that way. He's fitted with equipment that allows his driver to control him from Clarabel's cab. That's why we can't run you round the crane. You weren't designed for it.
Percy felt cross and foolish. When the lorry was clear of the crossing, he backed the train carefully to the first station. As he ran around the coaches, he thought about how silly he'd been.
Cheer up. You did well to get us here. Besides, Thomas's special controls don't always work for him in the end.
They don't?
Heavens, no! When the driver is in my cab, Thomas goes off daydreaming, don't you know? And he doesn't pay attention. You wouldn't believe the amount of times he's overrun the platform.
Percy felt much better hearing this, and laughed all the way to the top station as Clarabel recounted Thomas's misfortunes. Percy had no further incidents, and soon returned to shunting when the big engines were allowed out again. He was most cheeky whenever Thomas approached the platform.
Careful! You meant to stop there after all.
Annie and Clarabel were in hysterics as Thomas turned bright red. He never mentioned being a special engine again.